Hello everyone, my name is Albert, also known as Banshee. As you see, there's no green screen behind me. I'm now living in an RV, so just to save some money for about 6 months. I watched Nikachu, I think, a while back, did a video with the game recordings of his league that he played. And I just thought I'd try it out as kind of a different style of maybe video. I can make a longer form video this way, and it's a little bit easier for me to play games here and there and then just sit down and record it when I have a chance, which now tends to be about once a week because there's not very much space in here, and my wife is away at college once a week. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I enjoyed this league. I'm running Death and Catmix's list. It's the list running Boseiju. I will have the in the description below. I'll have the deck list. So I guess go ahead and check that out. And we're gonna go ahead and get started. And I'm gonna just hang out and share my thought process and see how it goes. Okay. Game starts. Oh my gosh, and it's going so fast. Okay. How do I go back? Okie dokie. Just start over. As you can tell, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. We get to win the die roll, so we go ahead and go first. Obviously, that's the best way to go. We look at this hand, and we end up keeping it because, you know, Giver plus some Thalias and a Aether Vial seems pretty great. We play our Branchloft Pathway, and then we go ahead and lead on the Aether Vial. And then, let's see here, we end up going over and sending it back to our opponent. Now here, our opponent leads Stitcher Supplier, and I'm thinking, okay, this is probably some type of Vengevine, Crabvine style deck. So we just go ahead and skip through their turn. It's up to us. We do tick up our Aether Vial, because why not? And we draw an Ambitious Farmhand. We end up playing our Boseiju and casting Thalia, because she's great. She's going to slow our opponents down, and we'll just see what happens. It takes 2 mana to remove it. If they want to waste their whole turn on it, that's fine. Our opponent goes ahead and plays that Verdant Catacombs, and then fetches for a Blood Crypt, and they pay the 2 life. Here, it's pretty certain that they're just going to end up... Oh, they end up clinging to dust. So we go ahead and activate Aether Vial on their end step. And then we say yes to Aether Vial, cast ourselves a Giver of Runes, and then an Ambitious Farmhand. Let's see here. Also give the Thalia protection from black, just because we do want to be able to get in and swing. We don't want it to die, so here we go. And it's kind of nice here. We do have the 2 Ephemerates. They are kind of protecting us. And let's see here. I'm kind of okay with sacrificing that Thalia and the Giver, because I know they're not going to be able to kill it. Next up, our opponent goes ahead and plays the Bloodstained Mire, and they're fetching. So let's see what they end up doing. They play a Mountain, and go ahead and start casting away at a Seasoned Pyromancer. Let's see here. What do they end up discarding? Let's see. A Swamp and a Mishra's Bauble. Okay. Our opponent goes to combat, and they just go ahead and pass it through. They don't want to send Stitcher Supplier into that. They know that we have tricks up our sleeves. So here with Aether Vial, let's see. We decide to keep it on 2, which was a great thing because we end up drawing this Ambitious Farmhand. We tend to have more 2 mana value targets in our deck, like Stoneforge Mystic, Thalia, Ambitious Farmhand. so I just decided to keep it on 2. Sometimes when you have that 3-drop in hand, you should tick it up for the instant speed trickery, but at this point, I wasn't thinking that much. So I played the Ambitious Farmhand, might as well grab the plains, and then, again, I just start swinging in with Thalia, because ultimately, we're here to win, and we win by dealing damage to our opponent. So I'm fine with this trade. Seasoned Pyromancer is going to die. We've got that first strike. That makes me pretty stoked. So, let's see here. Stitcher Supplier is now coming down on the battlefield, and they end up milling 3 more cards, which Stitcher Supplier is a very good card, honestly. Then our opponent starts tapping down their mana, and they persist themselves in Archon of Cruelty, in which case I'm thinking, you know what? I better go ahead and grab the plains. That was really fast, because I know I gotta kill something, and I've gotta discard something, so I did Ephemerate that Ambitious Farmhand in order to be able to sacrifice it, but just discard the plains, so I still have the utility of the Ephemerate. Okay? So then, our opponent gains 3, we lose 3, and we just lost a ton of value. That's kind of what sucks about Archon. Let's see here. So, our Ephemerate rebounds, and our Aether Vial trigger goes on the stack. So, with Aether Vial, we do tick it up to 3, and we cast Ephemerate, targeting our Ambitious Farmhand. Because, why not? Let's see here. So, we grab a plains, and then we actually end up drawing a Flickerwisp, which is pretty powerful. So we go ahead and play our plains and pass it over to our opponent. We don't have any way to swing, and then we activate Aether Vial in the end step. And then we also end up ephemerating the Flickerwisp just to hit their lands to keep them off of 4 mana for a turn. Don't really know why I did it. Just kind of hope something good would end up coming our way. Because this isn't a lost game. We are going to lose a creature, but we don't have any cards to discard, so that's really the thought process there. I'm more okay with losing my creatures than I am discarding cards, because that's hidden information, and our opponent does not know it's coming. And at this part of the video, I decide it is easier to click the button with my mouse than with my keypad. Yes, I'm recording on a laptop. Let's see. I spilled beer like so many times doing this, so I'm just taking the time to be extra careful. Okay, let's see. So it's on. Perfect. Okay. So we are going to place this here, and we're just going to click through. Okay. Now our opponent swings with the Archon, which we knew was going to happen. It is painful. It does suck. And then their 2 lands do come back. We ended up sacrificing a Giver. Probably shouldn't have done that. My thought process there was, next turn we can actually flip our Ambitious Farmhand and get some value out of it. But our opponent had other plans here, and they end up persisting a Seasoned Pyromancer, getting them just more value. At this point, oh wait, now Flickerwisp's ability resolves. But anyways, at this point it's pretty sad. We don't really have very much value to get. And again, I do Ephemerate here. My thought was, oops. My thought more or less was, we do want the value from the Ambitious Farmhand, because that extra card, if I have to play it, it's Solitude. If I have to discard it to the Archon, and I have a better spell in hand, that's great. So here we just end up playing the Plains, and I do end up casting the Lion Sash, but I think this is it for us. We're going to go down 2-1. Of course, the only caveat being is our Ambitious Farmhand can flip. I really hope you guys can hear me okay. Okay, our opponent is casting a Dragon's Rage Channeler, and it can for sure attack. So that's where it gets a little nerve-wracking here. And a card I've never seen is Bitter Reunion, which I guess is a new Brothers War card. And when it enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards, and you sacrifice Bitter Reunion, and creatures you control gain haste. Okay. So this is in our opponent's main phase, because they pretty much realize I've got 1 flyer. I can kind of keep myself alive for a little bit longer. So then they end up swinging in. So they gain their haste, and then they swing with everything, and we just end up scooping because we're not beating that value. Okay, so let's see this. Let's see here. View sideboard. So for our sideboard, let's blow this up so you guys can see. We have Burrenton Forge-Tenders in our sideboard. We have Sanctifier and en-Vecs in our sideboard. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we also have, what is that? I'm going to look this up because I want to make sure I'm telling you guys the right thing. I have the deck list right here. Let's see. What the heck? So we've got Drannith Magistrates. We've got Burrenton Forge-Tenders. We've got Gaddock Teegs, which we didn't bring in. Sanctifier and en-Vecs. So we brought 1, 2, 3. So we brought our 2 Sanctifier and en-Vecs in with the Ambitious Farmhand, and we brought 1 Burrenton Forge-Tender. I just wasn't sure how relevant. Most of their creatures were black. So that's what we did there. Okay. So now on to the shenanigans. We are going first this time. I'm not taking that chance again, and this hand looks perfect. I've got Sanctifier and en-Vec. It looks like it's just a standard Reanimator deck, and I just gotta hope that they don't end up having some type of hand hate. So I go ahead and do my play. I lead Aether Vial. I got my fingers crossed that the Sanctifier and en-Vec will stay in my hand until turn 2. Our opponent leads Verdant Catacombs, and then they pass it over to us. At this point, this is perfect. I tick up the vial. Excuse me. We use Aether Vial's ability. For sure, we draw Thalia, which is also fantastic. But here, I really think the most important thing is actually the Sanctifier. She's going to hit the graveyard, and there's nothing they can do about it unless they have some type of removal that's not red or black, which seems to be most of their deck. So they fetch, they don't shock, enters tapped. We skip our turn, and it's over to our opponent. By the way, guys, if you like this type of video, let me know. Let me know how I'm doing. This is my first try, so we'll see what happens. Anyways, our opponent plays Mishra's Bauble on their turn. They go ahead and crack it to look at the top card of their own library. And they play Marsh Flats. They crack it. And they grab a basic swamp. What do they do here? And then they have Reality Hemorrhage, which just so happens to be the perfect answer to our deck, which really, really sucks. Okay. So now our only chance to kind of be able to stop their reanimation plan is another Sanctifier or Burrenton Forge-Tender. And Archon looks pretty decent, actually. So I go ahead and play the Horizon Canopy. And then I just throw out the other Aether Vial and stupidly cast Thalia. Doesn't make any sense. I should have played Archon there. But you know what? We live, we learn, and we make tons of mistakes as we go along. But ultimately, you can kind of recover from a mistake as long as you're playing pretty tight Magic, especially playing Death and Taxes. Let's see here. So our opponent just goes ahead and plays the land and passes to us. We end up ticking up our stuff. And what do we draw? Oh, our opponent's tapping mana. Let's see what they're doing. They end up Unholy Heating the Thalia, which is fine. It ends up happening. Our abilities tick up. And we draw planes. So this is kind of cool. I'm like, cool, planes. So I end up cracking, and we get an Ambitious Farmhand, which is super awesome. I end up playing it. And I get my planes, because why not? And then pass over to my opponent here. So they untap, and they crack their Bloodstained Mire. They get a mountain. Now, in my opinion, I could have and probably should have cast the Archon there, but there's nothing I can do. So they end up playing this Brotherhood's End, which will destroy all artifacts, and I'm like, okay. So I end up actually throwing out Flickerwisp to protect one of the vials, because it's, in my opinion, a pretty good move. The Aether Vial kind of lets us get ahead. It kind of lets us be unfair against a lot of these decks, which is just kind of nice. And then, of course, now they're pretty much tapped out. Yeah, they got their Bauble, but we can land the Archon, which is what ends up, of course, slowing down any type of unfair opponent. Or this deck just has a lot of valuable cards, all at 2 mana value or less. So stopping them from casting those is super useful. And then we just draw a Giver here, which is just fantastic. But I do end up casting my Archon, and then I just pass. Let's see here. Then our opponent Bauble trigger goes off. They play Verdant Catacombs tapped. They swing at us in the air with the Dragon's Rage Channeler. And I'm at 16 life. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to trade at this point. The Archon of Cruelty does a ton of damage to me that I do not want to deal with. It is too painful for me. So then, look here. They end up Village Righting the thing, and I get to keep the Flickerwisp. And they're stuck casting spells, which is super awesome. And then that is it for our turn. At the end of it, we Aether Vial in the Giver of Runes, because Giver of Runes is fantastic. Now at this point, I'm actually going to go ahead and check what's in our opponent's graveyard. They got 5 card types. They do have nothing really to reanimate or persist, so I'm feeling pretty decent. So let's see here. Okay. I gotta pick this up. Okay, so Aether Vial is coming up next, and let's see here. Of course, we take up here. Whoops. Sorry, I've got limited room here. And Stoneforge Mystic looks pretty awesome. I end up going in for the attack with all 3 of my creatures, because why not? It's just pretty potent. And then I actually here flip my Farmhand. Knowing that they can only play 1 spell per turn helps me a little bit make my decision, because I know that they can't get something into the graveyard this turn and persist it. This persist is a sorcery spell unless they had some instant speed. Oh, and then they end up scooping at that. So we go into the next one. Let's see here. So we won. So that's kind of nice. Let's see. Now on to game 3. Here we are. Obviously we lose the die roll this time because we just won. I know, crazy, right? And funny enough, I recorded these while I was in jury duty, so I'm glad that I brought my laptop, because I think I did pretty decent in most of these matches. Let's see. So our opponent's going first. I kept this hand. Sanctifier is really good. Stoneforge is really good. I can grab both Kaldra and Lion Sash with the Stoneforge Mystics, which in my opinion is absolutely amazing. So our opponent bobbles and cracks and marsh flats for a swamp and a Stitcher Supplier. Okay. And then they end up playing out that Mishra's Bauble. And on our upkeep, they check out our top card before we draw it, just to, I guess, check us out. And then we draw the Ambitious Farmhand, which they're probably not too threatened by, so I'm cool with that. Up next, Bubble Trigger. Our opponent draws 2 cards on their upkeep, plays a Bloodstained Mire, cracks it, basic Mountain. I think they're worried about a Blood Moon here. No, I'm kidding. They end up playing a Darcy, which, of course, super powerful. And then, let's see here. Obviously, we got no blockers. We end up skipping through the turn. It's our turn. I skip the main phase on accident. And then I play the Bouldercloth Pathway. So we have that white source. And I just throw out Sanctifier and en-Vec. It's better that I kind of get ahead of the game and am able to take out their card types, because that's how they're going to get their Darcy's online, because those are a threat all by themselves. And then our opponent plays a swamp. Let's see here. And it's back to us. We draw Solitude, which is fantastic. We don't have that second land, which sucks. I end up playing Stoneforge because I'm like, you know what the heck? Stoneforge being the threat is fantastic. And I just grabbed the Lion Sash. Whether I need to eventually use it to pitch to Solitude, which I probably won't because it's really good against the deck. And then it's our opponent's turn. They play the Blackcleave Cliffs. And they don't attack. They're scared of our Sanctifier. Okay. And here we draw an Archon. We run into a problem. And I just play the other Stoneforge. Just to get the threat of Kaldra Compleat, because that's a lot scarier than a Lion Sash. And then I end up swinging in with the Sanctifier, because they can't block me. And I want to get damage in. And then, first time I've ever had to discard online, or just in general playing taxes, so I discard the Flickerwisp. I don't think I really need it. Archon and all the other stuff in my deck seems a lot more valuable to me. And then our opponent swings in with the Stitcher Supplier, which we take the damage. I never want to give the opponent an opportunity to fill up their graveyard. I kind of could have blocked with the Stoneforge, actually, now that I think about it. It's probably a misplay on my part. I really could have filled up their graveyard and maybe exiled stuff with the Sanctifier. But didn't work that way, so kind of stinks. Okay, so then our opponent starts tapping mana, and they play Brother's End, which they deal 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker on the battlefield, which includes their own, and not Sanctifier, because Brotherhood's End is actually dealing damage, so it doesn't affect our Sanctifier, unlike a traditional board wipe like a Damnation, or Dam, if it was overloaded. Let's see here. Okay. There we go. So we end up tapping our mana. And I throw out the Ambitious Farmhand. We're stuck on 2 lands. It's not very good. It's turn 5. We're drawing nothing but the best cards in the game. They've just kind of wiped their board for us, so I end up, you know, swinging in with Sanctifier. It's better than nothing. Okay. So let's see here. So our opponent plays Seasoned Pyromancer, and they end up discarding some cards. Let's see here. Man. They probably don't really want to discard anything because, I don't know. Unless they've got absolute garbage in their hand. Unless they want the bodies on the battlefield too. Yeah, so they exile 2 cards. They play their land. And then it's back to us. Now here we have the Solitude, which is fantastic. But in my opinion, I just want to go ahead and pressure them. I play Archon. It's able to swing in the air. It blocks Seasoned Pyro very efficiently. And the elemental tokens. Bless me. Sorry. Coughing to the mic. Okay. We swing in with our Sanctifier, and let's see what happens here. Okay. I don't know what I just did. Oh. Okay, I guess it's just playing through. Say, we went through a turn. It's turn 7 now. Nothing really just happened. Let's see. We cast our Flickerwisp. We hit the token thing. And then I end up playing Boseiju. For no good reason. I really didn't have to do that. But I do swing with the Sanctifier and the Archon. And then they end up unholy heating Flickerwisp. I don't know why they did that. I guess so I couldn't flip the Farmhand. And then, of course, we killed their token. They're at 7. And we're doing pretty good right now. So, their creatures get haste until end of turn. And they fatal push our Archon of Emeria. Which is fine. Unfortunately. And they cast a Stitcher Supplier. Now this is what I like. As they end up exiling their own game plan. By casting their own cards. They swing with the Pyro, the Elemental Token. And their Stitcher Supplier doesn't have haste. Just because they ended up casting it after they popped their haste enabler. Anyway, so here we draw our Aether Vial. But I think we got a little bit of a trick up our sleeves here with our second Archon. And then I'm stupid and I go to cast Aether Vial and realize did it in the wrong order. So here I just go ahead and try and get in. I think it's like the best bet that we have. You just kind of have to. So here our opponent go ahead and persists the Phyrexian Flesh Gorger, which I guess is their backup plan to Sanctifier en-Vec. The card is very good. I gotta pay 7 life, or life equal to its power, I think, in order to exile it. Or just target it. It's got ward. Hold up, let's check this card out. Pay life equal to its power. So at this point, it's a 6/4. So that sucks. Okay. That card's really good. I end up paying 2 mana, 3 mana with the Flickerwisp. And I hit the Archon of Emeria out of the yard. So I end up casting the Solitude, exiling Thalia. I don't think it's very necessary. And I hit the Phyrexian or Flesh Gorger. I pay my 7 life. Yes, unfortunately I do have to pay that. Bless me. Sorry. And then I cast Aether Vial. I had no better option. And I start dealing damage. Which here there could be some type of reason to not do that. But the nice part is Archon comes back, locks out our opponent. And we get to see what's going on. And I'm going to pause here and continue the video. Unfortunately, my camera only records 30 minutes at a time. So I just gotta be careful of that. Anyways, our opponent casts Pithing Needle and the name Aether Vial, which is fine. Doesn't bother me. Our Our Aether Vial doesn't have any tokens. I just cast it. So here, I might as well tick it up. There's no harm in not doing it. I play another Plains. And then I end up casting Lion Sash. Because I'm like, you know what? This is cool. I might as well eat the stuff out of the graveyard in case something happens. And I gain 2 counters and go to combat. I just swing with the Sanctifier. Now here I could have also swung with the Wisp and the Archon. Would have been a better clock, but it is what it is. And then our opponent ends up drawing a card and scooping, so we end up winning this one. So here we are, beginning of the league. I'm sitting in jury duty, and we got 1 win under our belt for the league. So then we go on to the next one. Bless me, I'm sorry. Let's see, 123, game 2. Okay. So, here we are again. We won the die roll, and we're going to go ahead and play first. So, here it is. We are going first. I look at my hand and I'm like, you know what? Slow, but we're going to keep it. So I do. I lead Horizon Canopy. And then I misclick and it tells me to pay some mana. So I do. I don't, actually. So here, our opponent plays a Razor Roach Thicket. And I'm like, what the heck is this? This could be another Taxes deck. It could be Hardened Scales. Could be a few different things. But I don't know what it is. So anyways, I play my Razor Verge Thicket. I just lead Ambitious Farmhand. I get the Plains. I need my white sources for now. I probably should have played Stoneforge at this point. Would have been a better threat. But that's fine. So now, a second Razor Verge Thicket comes down, and our opponent casts Devoted Druid. Oh, Devoted Druid. So I'm like, okay. See what happens here. Not really thinking much of it, honestly, at this point. Because I haven't played against any type of deck running Devoted Druid yet. So I slam down Stoneforge Mystic. And I go ahead and grab the big boy. Kaldra Compleat. And pass it over to my opponent. There's just nothing for us to do. I could have played Thalia. That might have helped out a little bit as well. And then I would have Boseiju available to activate with the Horizon Canopy if I really wanted to. But I didn't think it was very relevant at that point. So, Vizier of Remedies comes down. And here goes the combo. So our opponent ends up doing their thing. I'm going to press the play button. And our opponent activates it. El Domri calls, grabs Walking Ballista, adds a ton of mana, gets a Plains, plays a Stoneforge Mystic, and then casts Viridian Longbow, equips it, and pings me to death. I was expecting something more exciting, but here's where I should have kept up the Boseiju. I don't know if it would have made a difference in response to the equip. I could have killed it. And that was why I lost that one. They could have had, I mean, they could have Walking Ballisted me anyways. Didn't really matter. They had 2 win cons in hand. So, it is what it is. But it was smart of them to grab the backup. They can always just respond, so it kind of just stinks. So we lose this one. Now, game 2. Check out our sideboard. I literally was like dumbfounded I did not change anything on our sideboard. I looked at it and I was like, wow, our deck doesn't do anything against this deck. I guess I just have to have removal in hand. So, we're going to go ahead and start. So I start off, and I'm like, double Solitude, sure. That's removal enough for me. So I go ahead and play Plains. I cast Giver of Runes. Super important card. And then we pass it over to our opponent. And it's Temple Garden. They shock it in. And they ending my poor Giver of Runes. Oh my word. I'm just sitting here thinking like this is going to be such a bad match. I'm going to get blown out again. So I end up just playing a Plains and actually casting Stoneforge Mystic here. I grab the Lion Sash because I'm like, they're just going to remove Stoneforge. I might as well have something to remove their stuff with. It's the great part about running Lion Sash in the deck, because you can always grab it if you need a pitch, something to Solitude. So they play Razorverge Thicket. They go ahead and cast. Chalice on 1. I think that they think we're Hammer Time. Maybe not. So here, I slam Thalia down. Again, I tapped wrong. I should have left green up to be able to Boseiju, but I wasn't thinking. So that's my fault. I was like, eh. I'm like, maybe I just pretend to leave up path or something, but I've got Thalia out, so it doesn't matter. Anyways, our opponent plays a land and casts Devoted Druid. So I'm like, sure. That is fine by me. So, we go back to our turn. And we draw a second Thalia. Now it's perfect. So I'm more happy to pitch Solitude. And they end up activating Devoted Druid. Twice to kill it. Just smart. They want to be able to return it from the graveyard. It's fine. Solitude did its trick. Killed the creature. That's what matters to me. We want to get rid of the threats. Sorry. Again, I'm got my COVID cough that I can't seem to get rid of. Okay, so we swing with Thalia. Don't know why I didn't swing with Stoneforge. I could have. Should have. Maybe the only play there was to swing with Stoneforge. But I think I leave it up and to deploy the Lion Sash. So here's Saga, which they go ahead and cast something. Finale of Devastation, X equals 1. Which I'm sitting there confused. Because they grabbed Walking Ballista. So that makes more sense to me. So now I'm like, okay. They're just tutoring Walking Ballista. I don't know why they didn't do X equals 0. So here, I pay to activate Stoneforge. Put down the Sash. And with Lion Sash, I hit the Walking Ballista. Poor choice. On my... Oh, never mind. It's not a poor choice. I'm really dumb. Shouldn't have said that. I just swing in here. Because that's what you gotta do. You gotta deal the damage. And then I eat stuff out of the yard with the Lion Sash. Which is kind of a poor choice on my part. And their Stoneforge. Anyways, at this point, they grab Kaldra Compleat. I personally should have maybe played a land so I could Solitude. So So here, I Boseiju that thing. And they grab basic planes, which they should. Grab Ambitious Farmhand here. So I got the choice. Do I what do I do here? And then they try and I think pay for a collected company? Or something, I don't know. Oh, they activate Lair of the Hydra as a 2/2, which blocks the Lion Sash, which is fine with me. Just to be sure, though, I eat the stuff out of the yard, like we should. I even ate my own Boseiju to grow the thing. And then I probably drew out the game here. Oh, they end up casting Devoted Druid. And they, of course, have Kaldra Compleat available, which is obnoxious. But here I draw land, so this is where things are looking up for me. The land, to me, is way more important than... which I played my pathway incorrectly. Anyways, I just want to make sure I have removal for the Devoted Druid. I don't want to swing yet, because I don't want to leave myself open to the Kaldra Compleat slamming down, because we all know that's coming. And then, I believe it is here in the end step in which we kill the Devoted Druid, because if they have the combo, or a fetch piece for the combo, and I accidentally almost exiled my Lion Sash like a moron. So then I actually hit the Devoted Druid. Gosh, I hope you guys can hear this audio. I haven't tested it here in the RV yet. Okay. So I try and hit the Devoted Druid. They don't gain life from it because they decide to kill it. It's also a 0-power creature, which is fine by me. They activate Stoneforge. They throw down their Kaldra. Cool. That's fine. Oh man, good thing they have that Chalice on 1. Okay, so they're tapping out here. They're doing something. They changed their mind. They changed their mind. And it's a Chalice on 0. I don't get why. Again, I don't understand. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it exiles the, I don't know, the things. That doesn't make sense to me either. So here, I go ahead and slam her down. Say yes. I grab Kaldra Compleat, which is fantastic. Because our opponent's probably now realizing, oh, there's another Stoneforge sitting there. So I grab Kaldra Compleat. Which maybe I should have slammed it into the other Kaldra Compleat at this point. But I don't. Just go ahead and pass. I think it's looking pretty bad for our opponent. They'd have to grab the combo here. So they grab Windswept Heath. They fetch and they pay a bunch of mana. And we're waiting. They pay a Finale Devastation on 2. They'll grab another Devoted Druid. So I say, okay, fine. You're tapped out. I pay 1. Lion Sash. We'll hit the other Devoted Druid out of the yard. So we're killing these Devoted Druids. And then here we grab the Archon of Emeria, which is one of my favorite cards, but I just grab Lion Sash. The Trample Over is what's fantastic. Regardless of the Phyrexian Germs smashing each other, they cannot block it. So I swing, Stoneforge, Thalia, and everyone else. Especially that Phyrexian Germ, which is my favorite. Because there's no way that they can block that. Okay, so we win this one. Match 2. we're going to game 3. So here we go. Again, there's nothing for me to sideboard in my opinion. I don't have anything that I think will work. Maybe I'm wrong. Guys, tell me in the comments below if I am completely wrong. I'm going to adjust my camera. There we go, so I can slouch a little more comfortable. So, our opponent gets to go first. We just beat them. And I look at the hand and I mulligan it twice. I just want the removal, so I keep a 1-land hand. Oh man. I hope I draw land. So our opponent leads Lair of the Hydra, which I like that card actually. I have it in one of my spare modern decks. And here we grab Ephemerate, which is fantastic. So we play the Branchloft Pathway, and we pay a white, cast our Giver of Runes. We know they can't combo it out quite yet. Okay. Goes Plains here. They Prismatic Ending it just like they did last time, and they don't have a play. Please draw a land. That's what I'm crying about. So here we draw Plains, and I'm smart. Smart this time. I play Stoneforge Mystic, because if I played Thalia, it would cost 2 mana to Solitude and Ephemerate. So I grab Kaldra Compleat. I want them to have to remove my my Thalia, so they might spend a turn doing that. Or my Stoneforge Mystic, excuse me. And I'm sorry for the poor lighting. I'm going to make myself smaller in the corner because I look terrible with the lighting in here. So anyways, Spellskite comes down. I'm like, sure. Okay. It's fine. So then I play Horizon Canopy. And I activate Stoneforge. Throw down Kaldra Compleat. I am more than happy to swing in. Get my 5 damage in. So they don't block. They take their 5. They play Windswept Heath and another Spellskite. So on their end step I realized, crap. I just gotta kill these and hope we win. But the nice part about Spellskites are they have 0 power, so they don't get anything. So I Solitude. I evoke it. I go ahead and cast Ephemerate, targeting my Solitude. Our Solitude comes back and hits. So that's kind of nice. Then we're dealing the big damage. So we rebound. Target our Stoneforge again. I just go ahead and grab the Sword of Fire and Ice, and we draw Thalia. Kind of sweet. So I swing in with the Germ and the Solitude. Deal them a ton of damage to take them down to 6. They fetch for a Temple Garden, making my job super easy. And another Spellskite. So here, I tried to activate Stoneforge Mystic, but I can't, which is fine. And then grab this Pathway, and then this is just super easy for us. I go ahead and play the Sword of Fire and Ice, and they scoop there. So here we are. That was 2 games and we just won. Again guys, thank you for joining me. I hope you guys continue enjoying the rest of this video. Let me know if you liked the way that I did this video. I'm sorry that I look bad with the lighting in here. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Yes, I would like to get subscribers and likes. I want to grow the channel. I really love what I do. And I hope that you guys find it useful as I'm playing through decks. And if you guys have a deck list that you want to share with me, please go ahead and send it over. I love checking out other people's deck lists. So I like playing them. And I like just trying them out. So I'm going to try and start playing a random deck list here and there. Aside from taxes. But again, thank you guys so much. So here we go. Another one. We won the die roll 3 times in a row. I think winning the die roll is super important in playing taxes. So I'm really happy. I think it really does make and break a game. The ideal win is obviously a 2-0. But really, if you can win the first game and go first, and you have to lose one. It's got to be the second one, so you can go first on the third one. You have the advantage. It's kind of cool. But, yeah. So let's go here. So we're going to press play. We won the die roll. Let's see what happens. And we're almost at that mark. Okay. So, we decide to mulligan that hand. I see some 1-drops, some 1-turn plays. I'm happy with it. I end up throwing back the farmhand, I think that was. Okay, I play plains. Cast myself an Aether Vial. And then pass it over to our opponent. In which they play a Bloodstained Mire. I'm like, oh gosh. This is probably going to be some type of zoo deck. So I take out my Aether Vial. I say yes. I draw that backup giver. I play our Pathway. And I just pass it over to our opponent. It's nice here. I can actually protect the giver with the Ephemerate if I have to. So now, Gentmir's Garden. I am thinking, and Blood Crypt. Domain, but then I check the lands, and I'm like, this doesn't feel like Domain. So, here I end up activating Giver, saying yes, and then taking up Vial. Oh man. So we draw Sword of Fire and Ice, in which I can't play. I've got 2 Giver runes, in which I don't want to swing with, and we're letting Ren and 6 run away with the game. So here, boom, take up our Aether Vial, finally to 3. We draw an Ambitious Farmhand. So I go ahead and play it, get my plains, and toss it out. And then here in the end step, our opponent goes and fetches. Grabs a Steam Vents, which is frustrating as heck. But shocks it in for some reason. And then here it is. They try and ice the Aether Vial. So I say, okay, fine. And Archon comes down. There's no tricky business with me here. I don't know what a 3-mana threat. I don't know why you wouldn't just play the 3-mana threat. It's kind of nice. This hand is great. So they try to deal 1 damage to our Ambitious Farmhand, which we're okay with. It's fine. And then they persist in Archon of Cruelty. I'm like, damn. So I have to sack a giver, discard my sword. And that was fast. That was fast. So we get a Solitude here. I go ahead and evoke it. I hit that Archon. I just have to. And then I actually send my Archon, which is much weaker, at the Brennan 6, but they end up bolting it while Giver's standing. They probably have a removal spell next turn, so I get it. So they deal 1 damage to our Giver. And then there goes the other Brennan 6. So they're going to shoot the Giver. Just fine. I get it. Sad, though. So here's a Flickerwisp. So I'm pretty stoked. I go ahead and swing in. And we kill the Renin 6. They get a Dwarven Mine tapped. And here's another Renin 6, which sucks. They grab their land back. They have a lot of land. I go ahead and activate Aether Vial. I reset the Renin 6 in the main phase so that it's easier for me to kill at this point. And I got Thalia, which is great. So I go ahead and play her. I hope that'll slow my opponent down a little bit. But I do just swing with both. Our opponent doesn't have a way to block. I do deal 3 damage to Renin 6 and 2 damage to the opponent. And then here they go. They're cracking their fetch, just trying to grab, I guess, more mountains down the battlefield. They play a mountain, And it's our turn. We swing in again. Taking our opponent down to 10. We cast our Giver. And they... I don't know what to do here. They mana leak it. Oof. I did not see that one. So, I didn't see that coming. So I just have to suck up and deal with it. They play their Stomping Ground tapped, which to me this looks like they're about to hard cast an Archon. I swing in with everything. I have to. Gotta make sure I'm taking my opponent down. They're at 3 life. They fetch to 2. Okay. And here it is. They hard cast the Archon. They kill our Thalia. We discard our Thalia. Play another land. And I'm like, what the heck can I do here? I better draw something great at this point. So I draw another Aether Vial. And from this point, it's all pretty much over. Our opponent swings in with Archon. We have to sacrifice a creature, which is going to be our Flickerwisp, unfortunately. They're just gaining life from this, unfortunately. That card's really freaking good. So, get our Vial. We have a backup Archon. We accidentally ticked our Vial up to 4. I guess in hopes of a Solitude at this point, but we can't keep it in check. Our opponent swings in. We get our life drained. And then they binding our Archon, and that's it for us. That's it, unfortunately. Okay, so on to game 2. Let's see, we've got 3 minutes. Let's see. Here's our sideboard. For this matchup, I brought in 2 of our 3 Burrenton Forge-Tenders. I also bring in the 2 Sanctifier en-Vecs. And then all 3 of Gaddock Teegs. So, got to make sure that we can stop it. Gaddock Teeg is in the list to stop this list. If you're not splashing green for Gaddock Teeg right now, and you're having trouble with this deck, I recommend playing those pathways. I recommend throwing in Horizon Canopies, and maybe even a Shockland. And heck, while you're at it, might as well throw the Boseijus in here. We don't really have another good opportunity. I don't feel like Containment Priest is good enough because they can Creativity or Containment Priest, and then we just cry because there's nothing worse than that. So, we're going to go on with this one. Okay, so here we go. We won the die roll, of course. We mulligan, and we are like, ugh, gotta mulligan down further. I need some type of hate bear. Again, I don't have it, but a decent hand of 5 cards is better than a good hand of 4. So, go ahead and throw back some lands. I like the Ambitious Farmhand. It's able to keep me afloat. I throw out Aether Vial. And Blood Crypt from our opponent. And it's our turn. So I take up Aether Vial. Say yes. I go ahead and play Thalia. We got to back up Thalia. We want to slow down the running 6 because that's really their main turn 2 plan. So I just play Dwarven Mine and pass. So I do take up Aether Vial's ability. And hell yes. Right now, this is going down right this instant. So we play Ambitious Farmhand. We go ahead and swing with Thalia. And we cast our Archon because Archon is so good. Okay. So, it's back to our opponent at this point. They play a tap Boseiju. Thank goodness for Archon. And I say no to the Aether Vial, or I say yes to the Aether Vial ability. Wow, I didn't know I did that. Again, here I swing in with everything. You just gotta kind of deal them damage before they... Like I said, you just kind of have to deal them damage before they deal you damage. It's super important that you're able to do that because they will end the game with a single card. Okay, so they pay 3 for running 6, which probably feels really bad, and they shoot our Thalia. Again, we're fine with that. We've got a backup. And we take up our Vial. Gaddock Teeg is here, which is just another great lock piece. I end up swinging with the Archon and the Ambitious Farmhand. I think I actually throw them both separately, yeah. And then I do just slam down Gaddock Teeg. Might as well shut him down now. Thalia is weak to another run in 6. I just want to be able to deal with their garbage. They pass. We take up. Just is great here because we do have a Vial on 3 and 1 on 2. And our deck just got better with the Stoneforge. Or our hand just got better with the Stoneforge Mystic. Let's see here. At this point, what do I throw down? I throw down Thalia and I just straight cast Stoneforge. Interesting. And they scoop there, which is awesome. So we go on to game 3. It's kind of nice to have these 8 bears. Okay, our opponent gets to go first this time. So we got to make sure we have our specific hate pieces because we will lose if we don't. You either want them to mulligan super far, and then I see this hand, which I end up keeping because I think it's pretty good if they go for the persist plan. Anyways, let's see here. So we lead on protection. Actually, you draw that Aether Vial. I think I throw out the Aether Vial here. Yep. So we throw out our Aether Vial. Opponent grabs their Jetmir's Garden. We're kind of at a disadvantage here. They do have that speed on us. They're 1 turn ahead, basically. They Boseiju our thing, which is completely fine. They're just ramping us to be able to actually more effectively defeat them. And here, I would say I make a mistake. I throw down Sanctifier. And I throw out Giver. I should have done it in reverse. I should have thrown out Burrenton Forge-Tender. It's a better protection spell at this point in time. Because they just fire the Giver. They wouldn't have fired my Stoneforge. Here I draw Gaddock Teeg and Stoneforge. Or Gaddock Teeg and I play it. Excuse me, I'm sorry guys. It's late. Okay. So I got my hate pieces on the battlefield. We're protected from creativity, from transmogrify, and from persist, which is awesome. So we swing in with Sanctifier and we start dealing damage as fast as we can. Dwarven Mind comes in. Yeah, they get their dwarf token. That's completely fine. There's with Thalia. So we go ahead and cast it. They respond by bolting to try and kill Gaddock Teeg. We do protect it here. If they have another bolt, that's fine. And then Stoneforge comes down. So we go ahead and grab ourselves a Sword of Fire and Ice. We want to be able to protect Thalia and Gaddock Teeg if we can. But if they can kill my Gaddock Teeg, they do have creativity online. So they try and bolt Gaddock Teeg, and it succeeds. They still cannot, what's it called? Creativity. So I go ahead and throw down Kaldra Compleat here. Or actually the sword. And I equip it to the Sanctifier en-Vec. I didn't realize I did this. And they leyline binding it. Oh, they're leyline binding the sword. Which I think is a mistake on their part. So I go ahead and swing with Thalia and the Sanctifier. Again, I just want to get my damage in. They got 1 card in hand, which is kind of good. There are low chances or minimal chances that is going to be their Transmogrify. So they pass. I'm surprised I didn't see any Kikijiki mirror breaking cards. We do play Stoneforge Mystic and Kaldra. My goal, I think, last turn with the sword was to make sure that I can shoot the dwarf tokens with Sanctifiers. I don't know why they didn't leyline binding the Sanctifier, because I pretty much just took them down to 1 life with this. Again, I don't know what they were thinking. And then they scoop. They realize it. Oh crap. So we end up winning this one too. So I'm pretty stoked about it. Okay. Next up, we go to game 4. And we are 3-0 right now. So we're doing pretty good. I'm pretty excited. Last night when I went to play this match, I was like, I just gotta win. I don't know what's gonna happen. So, you guys know what's gonna happen at least. Okay. So this isn't looking good for us. This is the first match where we lose a die roll. I click play. Let's look at our hand. I see our hand. Keepable. Definitely keepable. But it's a 1-lander, so I mulligan it. And then I kind of regret it here. But I'm like, you know what? I can cast all my spells. Let's go for it. Our opponent plays Botanical Sanctum, Striped Quiver Wonder. This is, what's that deck called? I can't believe I just forgot the name of the deck. It is Living End. So they grief us, which sucks. They obviously take our Thalia here. We get a Plains, play out our Aether Vial, and we pass it over to our opponent. Kind of nice here. We have the option for both Botanical Sanctum. So they're just cranking stuff into their graveyard. I draw another land. The other hand would have been better. They evoke. I activate Vial. Yeah, they're taking the Ephemerate. I know. So they Steam Vents. And then I'm like, what the heck? So here, I think I swing in with the Giver here, actually. Yeah, I do. So I swing with the Giver, and then they Violent Outburst. I'm not surprised at all. Here it comes. The Cascade. I activate Vial once that resolves. Ambitious Farmhand comes down. I grab another Plains. And the Double Grief gets me. Now here I'm pretty impressed with how well I ended up handling it. Much better than I thought I could. They go ahead and swing in with everything. I double block to kill a Grief. And then I actually Eiganjo the other Grief because they did have lethal on board. With that. So now I'm like, gosh, I don't know what I can draw. And that's it. I can't do anything here. So that was pretty sad. I ended up losing, I guess, the first game of every match, I think, so far. Okay, so I get to go first this time, so I'm like, kind of like hoping. Oh, hold up. Before we start, sideboard against Living End. We have Drannith Magistrate, which is the main thing we bring in. All three of them is fantastic. Let's see. We brought 4 things in, 5 things in. So we also brought in the Sanctifiers because they ended up having a lot of black in their list. The Griefs, Street Wraiths. Sanctifier doesn't do enough for us, but I did bring as much in as I can. Anyways, so here we go. I see this hand. I see we're going first. I see the Archon and the Drannith Magistrate, and I'm pretty much sold. All they can have to beat us is Subtlety or Double Grief. So it could be Double Grief, Double Subtlety, or a combo of the two. So we lead. Play our white land. Let me say go. At this point, every life counts. The Street Wraiths end up dealing our opponent a ton of damage. So I lead Drannith Magistrate. Turn 2, I can get it down. I'm fine with that. We got backup Archon at this point. So I'm like as happy as can be. So I actually end up this turn. Go ahead and swing in with Drannith Magistrate because attacking is what's important. And then casting our Archon, which is awesome. So we're just getting in. They have to play their Misty tapped. Takes them back an extra turn. That's the great part about Archon. So they go ahead and keep doing whatever they're doing. They're cycling their cards. They've got a full grip of cards in their hand. And we draw Solitude, which is awesome. I play the Eiganjo just to be able to get out as much as I can. But I probably shouldn't have done that. So I cast the Archon. And stupidly, I think I try and cast the Giver here. But I can't. My mistake. Okay, anyways, so yeah, I tapped the Horizon Canopy. I'm like, oh crap. So our opponent go ahead and does their thing, and they just scoop. They realize 3 hate pieces, all the sideboard cards basically, or just 1 sideboard card, but they probably think this is sideboard. It pretty much just locks them down right there. So we go to the next one. In game 3. Now here I was pretty worried as well. I didn't know what was going to happen here. So let's see. Our opponent's going first, which is never good against this deck. That means we pretty much just want... we either need Thalia and Archon to slow them down. So Thalia, then Archon, or just Archon and hope that they can't Cascade on turn 3. And then our only other option is Drannith Magistrate. So I look at my hand. I know I'm like looking at it. I know when I saw that I thought, man, Thalia and protection, but I just knew I couldn't keep it. So this looked a lot better to me. I was like, you know, Lion Sash down the line can actually win. I throw back a Giver. I probably should have kept a Giver down just to be safe. But I just ended up leading this way. So they already are dealing themselves 5 damage to get down. They grief us. And they take our Archon, which really sucks. So I'm like, oh crap. So I go ahead and Temple Guard, and I'm like, cool. At least we have Thalia. We can slow him down a turn. Maybe I'll have a chance to draw something. Just gotta hope I hit more lands. Because the farmhand ain't gonna cut it at this point in time. So I draw Flickerwisp. I go ahead and cast Thalia. I gotta make sure they can't Cascade this turn, because that will kill us. Just like last game, they're filling their yard up like crazy. So they end up cracking their Misty, cycling more. They got an island standing. Sure. We have an Ambitious Farmhand. That's all we can do. Play Plains. I swing the Thalia and Giver. I'm like, what am I protecting at this point? They Subtlety. I don't know if they were trying to do this so that they had more stuff in the yard, but in my opinion, I think this was the wrong play. Maybe they thought they could block. I don't know what they were thinking, because they didn't do anything. They could have Subtlety my Ambitious Farmhand, though. That would have actually been kind of backbreaking at this point. And then here, they cycle. They play their land. And that means I have one more turn to survive. We draw a land, which sucks. So I'm like, okay. I just gotta go ahead and play Lion Sash. We want to start eating their stuff. I'm gonna get in the combat zone. And we hit them. So maybe here there might have been a reason to keep up Giver of Runes to protect. Because here, they actually hardcast Foundation Breaker. So I'm like, crap. I go ahead and just Lion Sash out their stuff. Because that's all I can do. They kill it. It is what it is. So here is where I win, basically. I drew Drannith Magistrate out of nowhere. They've got 1 card in hand. So And the fact that they didn't cascade kind of showed me, I'm like, I kind of feel like they actually don't have anything available. So I just throw it down, I swing with Thalia, get in with damage. And then I don't think they have anything aside from Otawara. But I end up playing Ambitious Farmhand. The one thing I say about this deck when I'm playing against it is that I notice that they have to either take out with Grief with my Hate Bearers, they have to subtlety it, because Otawara isn't going to do the trick, and they're not playing any of the removal spells, which is kind of interesting to me. I guess the deck is just so good, the spell just acts as a removal spell. But against, I mean, there's probably not very many Death and Taxes players running around. But I would actually throw in maybe some Dismembers. Okay, so we cast our other farmhand, get our planes, goes back to our opponent, and they got nothing. So, play my pathway, and I realize, holy crap, I can just wisp out the Foundation Breaker, and then I scoop it up there. Oh man, 60 minutes, cool. And we got this one too, so I'm pretty excited about it. So now, we're going into game 5, to match 5. We are 4-0, and I'm super excited. Sorry, my wife is texting me. She's coming back from college, so I have just enough time to do this. Awesome. Okay. Here we go. Now this is probably the saddest game I've ever played. I lose to a misclick. As you can already see, I don't win this one. And it's a jank deck. I should have won. Ignorantly, I'm up against Paul Blart, the Mall Cop. So we start. I mulligan. I hate the hand. It's slow. I keep it anyways. It's better than nothing though. Slightly Temple Garden. And it's a Wild Nicottle. So I see it. I'm like, cool, sure. Then I just go ahead and play Aether Vial. Aether Vial is great. There's no reason to not love it. Of course, they're fetching the Arid Mesa. Wild Nicottle's online. And Renin 6 comes down, which really, really, really sucks. But cool, we draw an Archon. The problem with Renin 6 is they can just shoot my stuff, which is just poopy. That would have been great if I had Thalia down a little while ago, because they would just now be casting it. Say Renegade Rallier, and they're ramping with their lands, which lets them run away a little bit. So here, play my land. I throw out my Archon of Emeria, and I pass over to them. They swing with the Nicottle. I don't block. I think I can take it. They activate Renin 6 to deal me 1 damage. And I'm thinking that, oh, okay, they just cast a spell. Here comes Thalia. Or they activate the ability. Cool. They haven't cast a spell yet. So here's Renin 6 for 3 mana. But Renin 6 nonetheless. They shoot my Thalia, which sucks. Sacred Foundry, tapped. And then it's our turn. We draw Kaldra Compleat, completely and utterly useless. I use the Archon to kill the Renin 6. And I play a backup Archon because it's a great card. They swing. I activate Vial. I throw Thalia down. And I block. I kill the Renegade Rallier. I lose Archon, but the Nicottle is still alive. Okay. They get back Renin 6. Which sucks. They just shoot Thalia. So here we go. This game was tragic. Aether Vial is down. We're going to activate its ability. Or we're not going to activate its ability. I'm lying. I'm sorry, guys. I swing with Archon to kill the Ren 6 again. I don't want it on the battlefield. It runs away with games. It deals me extra damage that I don't need to take. It's our opponent's turn. They swing in for 5, which sucks. I activate Vial, put down Stoneforge. I grab the Lion Sash. I exile the Nikadal. And then I don't block. So I think I got it. They play Step Links. They play a land tapped. And then here we go. So the Vial. I take up to 3. I draw planes. And then I say go. I don't attack here. They've got too much life for me to do anything. I haven't been getting in enough. I've been hitting Ren and 6. But here comes Stomping Ground. So their Step Links is going to get huge. They swing. I go ahead and activate Stoneforge. Kaldra Compleat. I block here. Which is another huge mistake here. I was scared of maybe like a double bolt, which they could have. Then there's Ragavan. And here's where I make another mistake. I swing in with the Germ. And then they bolt my Stoneforge, my blocker, and they hit me with Monkey. Takes me down to 5. They exile planes, and then here's like 4th Ren and 6 of the game. That happens. I play the Giver. I kill the Ren and 6 because that can just kill me in 4 turns. And then Brushfire Elemental comes out. And they have lethal. But I think they don't realize it. So I survive for one more turn. I need a land here. I grab Ephemerate, which sucks. I don't swing. I can't swing. And they get a Wild Nikadal down. Thank God it doesn't have haste. Again, I need another land here to be able to do anything. There it is. So I play my land. I pass. I'm on 1 life. And Renegade Rallier, running 6. And I Solitude my own Germ to try and stay alive. Yeah, this is atrocious. They get a land with Ren and 6. They swing. Block the Brushfire Elemental. I stay at 6. I don't know why they didn't uptick it. And I lose because I draw land here. So we go on the next one. I'm good. You know, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I kind of prefer filming as I'm playing. I feel like I can give better commentary. But let me know what you guys think. If you're still watching this long at about an hour and 30 minutes in, please let me know. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate y'all's support. And let's go on to this next game. So this is match 2. Let's see what I sideboarded. So for my sideboard, I ended up bringing in my Burrenton Forge-Tenders, my Sanctifier en-Vecs, and I call it a day. Bless me. Oh, man. So here, like I said, I win the die roll, double Sanctifier. I'm like, golden. So I go ahead and lead. It's a little slow, but we're good. Our opponent leads with Ragavan, the annoying little monkey fucker. And in comes their thing. So here's their Arkham Hellhound and a Step Links. They are the They're like a landfall deck. So, Burrenton Forge-Tender and Sanctifier come down. They play lands. Renegade Rallier comes in. They only swing with the step links. I should have blocked that probably. Here's the other Burrenton Forge-Tender. And I end up just popping the Blast Zone. Taking him out. They Prismatic Ending a Sanctifier. They swing in. I don't block. I don't feel like it's worth it here. If I do cast Stoneforge this next turn, I'll grab Kaldra because it's just a great threat. And then Burrenton Forge-Tender comes down, and I swing with the Sanctifier. They're down to 10. So here they dash Ragavan. I block. They fetch. They Tarkus command, which is fine. We're at 4. I play Stoneforge. I swing with the Germ. Or I don't. I do. And I'm like, holy shit, look at all these Solitudes. Okay, so I take them down to 4, and they scoop there. We got it. Thank goodness. And then we go into game 3. So this is the final game of our match. I thank you guys for watching this far. Again, let's see if we can get it done in 4 minutes, because that's how much my camera can record without me having to restart it. So here we go. We lost the die roll. Our opponent's going first, of course. I look at this hand, and I can't keep it. I go to this one. I've got Burrenton Forge-Tender. I've got Archon. That might do the trick. So I say go. I put back the Ephemerate. I don't need it. Step Links comes down. It's definitely the best out of all their creatures. I play a Burrenton Forge-Tender, and I say go. Hellhound comes down. They pump up the Step Links. The Coddle comes down. And they swing, which sucks. So here I draw Thalia. They swing. I block the Burrenton Forge-Tender. And yeah. They bolt my Thalia. So I got no blockers. Yeah, so like 2 minutes. Okay, so I play Burrenton Forge-Tender here. Or actually Archon. Oh, I didn't know that. Could have played another land there, I think. No, it's turn 4 for him. Okay, so he plays another Step Links, which sucks. He swings in for a bunch. I block with an Archon. We don't trade. I don't take damage. I play Blast Zone. I just go ahead and pop it. And I swing with Archon. I should not have done that. Should not have done that. Actually, now that I think about it, I think it's fine. Brushfire Elemental wouldn't have done anything. They play Renegade Rallier. They bring back the Step Links, knowing that it's the only thing I can't effectively block. I grab the Ambitious Farmhand here. And I play the Burrenton Forge-Tender. Huge mistake with this Brushfire Elemental, I think, is the creature I mess up on. So they pump themselves up, they all swing in. So I block the Brushfire, with the Burrenton Forge-Tender. And I block the Renegade Rallier. So it'll be just the Brushfire Elemental on the Step Links down on the battlefield. Here's where I mess up. I forgot to sacrifice my Forge-Tender, or I thought I could click it in damage, but I can't, to sacrifice to prevent the damage from the Brushfire Elemental, keeping me at 8 life. That is my mistake. I totally goofed on that one. And then from here, I draw land. My opponent has a fetch land up. I play my Ambitious Farmhand. I go ahead and grab the land, and then I pass. And as long as my opponent can buff the Brushfire Elemental up, he can kill me. So he waits a turn. He wants to go wide. I draw a card with the Horizon Canopy. I don't know what we missed, but they swung, they fetched, and then the Brushfire becomes a 5/5. Yeah, it takes 4 damage from Eiganjo, but it doesn't matter. And here, if I ignored the damage from the brush fire, I still would have lost anyways. I'd be at 1 life. I maybe could have pulled it out. Could have seen what happened, but I don't think there's anything I could have drawn. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for joining me on this journey. I really appreciate it. Let me know if you guys like the way this video is done. I know I've asked that about 100 times. You guys probably want me to shut up. But anyways, see you guys in the next one. If you like what I do here, please consider subscribing to the channel as well as liking and sharing the videos. It really does help. And if you do this with your favorite YouTuber as well, I'm sure that they would appreciate it as much as I do.